Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this lecture, we will discuss the Food and Agriculture Organization, its beginning, its objectives, its initial staff, its recent staff, its aims, its role, and its performance, and how it works, how it has achieved its goals, and who are the financial supporters of the Food and Agriculture Organization. Dear audience, it was existed in the 1945 after World War II, in which the world economy collapsed, both technologically and agriculturally. Now the reason was that when the economy has collapsed and there is no food, there was a need for an organization to recognize the problem and then to find out some solutions for it and work on it to meet the hunger. In 1945, when it was framed, there were 30 members of the Food and Agriculture Organization, out of which 7 were the experts. And the main reason was that because the agriculture and modern technological industrial sector were collapsed and disrupted completely after World War II, it was the need of the day to reconstruct that. Moreover, after World War II, there were two problems. The existing nations or the existing countries which have took part in the war are the new countries which have no experience in the government and the modern technology. So the Food and Agriculture Organization worked on these two things. In the already existing countries, they supported the governments for the modern technological assets or the modern technology to produce the yield, and in the newly established countries they help the governments in first to establish the government and then to help them to produce food for the people. Now the role of the FAO was basically to produce food for the people who have been affected by the war and or who have shortage of the food supplies, and to get enough food with good health. Its aim was basically they worked on the agriculture sector in such a way that the science and technology introduced the new methods for the production. The scientists worked for producing more food in the fields, and in return they got the feedback from the farmers and the workers that what are the problems which they are facing over there in their fields. So again they focused on the problems of the workers. They not only focused on the production but also focused on the problems of the workers who were producing the crops. And by the concerned governments, they formulated some policies and were implemented over there in those states, in those governments, to sort out this problem and to help the farmers and the people to get more food. The first appeal which were made to the Food and Agriculture Organization in 1946 was from the Greek. The Greek requested for help on the basis of the collapsed agriculture and modern industrial sector. So the team was proposed, which were including the experts from the dairy, the livestock, the agriculture economics, the home economics, the fisheries, the forestry, the agriculture engineering, the irrigation engineers, the plant pathologists, and others who were associated with the agricultural sector in any way. The team, which was composed of these experts, found some neglected lands in huge amounts on larger areas. They found the neglected lands, the collapsed markets, the destroyed transportation, the lack of service and facilities, and widespread hunger. Now, the first thing was to help the hungry people, because some other problems which were existing over there were of long run and required some long run solutions, but the hungry people need food, which is the direct need, which is the instant need of the people. So they were to feed the hungry people in the very beginning. That was the first step made by the Food and Agriculture Organization, and after that they were to reconstruct the destroyed system. Expert suggestions were taken to implement the suggestions by the governments. They suggested the governments to take the suggestions serious and to implement them in the countries, which were made by the experts in its meetings, to help the transportation, to help the increasing the yield, to help the irrigation, to help the pesticides and control of the insects, pests, etc., and of the packaging and processing, and basically of the preservation of the food commodities in those countries. But remember that for all such activities, the financial assistance is required. The FAO were unable to perform these actions without the financial assistance of the international donors. In the international donors, they have two main supporters, that is the World Bank and the Inter-American Bank. The Inter-American Bank and the World Bank were the main supporters from the very beginning to solve the problem of the hunger and to increase the yield of the lands which were barren or which were neglected or which were destroyed and affected in the war. Remember that it is a point of success that the initial number of workers or the staff was 30, which has raised to several thousand members in the member nations throughout the world to meet the hunger and to feed the people over there. The next lecture will be about the objectives which achieved by the Food and Agriculture Organization in some countries or in most countries of the world, which they have adopted, and how and what was the mechanism of the working over there by the experts of the Food and Agriculture Organization. About this lecture, if you have any questions, you can ask. I will appreciate. Thank you.